Hey, good afternoon. This is Lee Swanner with Swanner Landscaping, and I had somebody request a video on how to choose soil and calculate the amount of soil you need for a job. And there's a lot that goes into it, but not really. That's a pretty simple process. But choosing soil, you've got there's several different types of soil. There's clay, there's loam, there's sand and silt, or some combination thereof. And the United States Department of Agriculture has a triangle called the soil texture triangle. Up at the top is clay, down here is sand, silt, loam in the middle, and within that, depending on the mixture, a percentage mixture of clay, of silt, of sand, is depending on where that soil type fits within that triangle. But I can save you a lot of trouble because what you want is sandy loam. You don't want a high content of clay because you can't spread it. Okay, it retains moisture. It's more difficult to spread. But most grasses, all grasses that I'm familiar with, especially in the South, they want well-drained soil. And the most important thing, that obviously clay is going to retain soil, it's going to have a way less of a perk rate. Sand has got the fastest perk rates. There's no percolation sideways, it perks straight down. But some mix therein is ideal, is a sandy loam. So it's going to be a loamy type light soil with sand mixed into it. There's not going to be any clumps in it at all. And this is the kind of dirt you want to spread under your grass. So before you're putting your grass down or planting plants, that's all I use is sandy loam. I may add organic soil conditioner, you can buy bags of Nature's Pride soil conditioner is what it's called. And you can add that in with the sandy loam mix. But you do not want to go get fill dirt or have somebody, call the resources company and say, hey, can you send me some fill dirt? Well, what they're going to send you is going to be impossible to spread by hand. You have got to have something that works that provides a nice, clean, even distribution and spreads clearly and easily. And if it's got clay in it, I promise you're going to regret that, especially if it gets wet. So you always want sandy loam, and that's going to be the number one thing. So you're going to call your resource company and say, hey, look, I need some dirt for my yard. I need some sandy loam. And most of them are going to know what you're talking about, and some are going to say, I don't know what you're talking about. You got to make sure that, look, I want a sand mix with a loam mix. So I don't want any clay. I don't want any clumps. I don't want any bumps. I don't want something that I cannot spread. So now you've established that's what we want. We want sandy loam. Okay. Well, how do we calculate how much dirt we need? Obviously, you got to break out your geometry, your algebra to be able to figure that out. First, you got to ask yourself: are they going to sell it to me in yards, in cubic yards? Or are they going to sell it to me by the ton? And just for the purpose of this conversation, 1 ton of dirt is about 1 cubic yard. 1 cubic yard of sandy loam is about 2,200 pounds. Generally, that's been my experience. So a yard, a ton are going to be just about the same thing. Now, obviously, if you get out into these large proportions, that's going to make a difference. So you're going to have to determine and calculate that accurately. But for the purpose of this conversation, a ton and a yard are the same thing. Okay, so we know that a cubic yard of material is 27 cubes, 1 foot by 1 foot, right? So if you had a 3 by 3 by 3 cube, that's 1 yard of material. But you got to ask yourself, well, how deep am I going to spread this material, and what's the area that I'm going to spread it over? And it's very simple to calculate. A lot of times we're using mulch, like I want to determine how much mulch do I put down, or how much mulch do I want to order for this flower bed, how much dirt do I want to put down. So for the purposes of putting down dirt for grass, if you've already got your grade kind of where you want it, and you want to add in a sandy loam over the top of it. What that does, and the reason you do that, is not because it really benefits the grass. You're trying to get an even, clean area to put your grass down. You want a nice, clean, even distribution of sand. No rocks and no weeds and grass on it. So beautiful, clean, and that sandy loam is going to do that for you. It's going to be easy to spread. You'll spread it out and come in and put your grass in. It's going to pack in real nice on top of it. But how much do we order? So the first thing we want to do is we want to calculate the area of the area in question that we're going to put in. So let's just say, for instance, it's a 100 by 100 square foot area. So that's 10,000 square feet. Okay, so we got 100 by 100 is equal to 10,000 square feet, which is a whole bunch of dirt, by the way. Okay, but we're just, for the purpose of this conversation, that's what we're going to use. So now we want to spread it 1/2 an inch thick. You're really not wanting to put in 4 inches of dirt. Okay, so you've got a nice solid base that you're working over, but you only want about 1/2 an inch, maybe an inch at the most, of sandy loam over the top of your existing soil. And some people may say that you do more than that. Well, I do this for a living, and I'm just telling you, you don't want a bunch of it because it's just going to mash, and you want a nice, even, hard surface to work over when you're putting this sandy loam over the top to fill in all your divots and get a nice clean edge. So now we've got 10,000 square feet of area that we want to put dirt over. So how do we calculate what we need? So we know that 27, if we took 27 cubes, 27 cubic feet, and we're putting them 12 inches deep, then we'd have 27 square feet, 1 foot thick. But we don't want to do that. We don't want it thick, 1 foot thick. We want it 1/2 an inch. So what is that? So we've got that 27, and if we were going to go 1 inch deep, then we'd multiply that times 12. So it'd be 27 times 12. So that's 324 square feet per yard. But we're going to do this 1/2. So we're going to double that. Or it would be like 24, right? So 27 times 24. So 27 times 24 is equal to 648 square feet per cubic yard. All right, so that means that every cubic yard of material that we got, if we spread it evenly, we know that 1 cubic yard is going to cover 648 square feet. So we've got 10,000. You can either take the reciprocal of that if your calculator lets you do that, or you can back the 648 out and start over again. Mine doesn't do that. So what we're going to do is 10,000 divided by 648. So we would need 15 cubic yards of dirt for 10,000 square feet at 1/2 inch thick. And 15 cubic yards is one solid dump truck load. That's one big dump truck load. They carry about 14, 15 cubic yards. So it's the same process. So if we had 5,000 square feet, we would divide that by 648, and that would give us 7 yards, okay? So you can use that same method. I know 3 inches deep and 4 inches deep, the factor is always 4 inches deep is 81 cubic feet, and 3 inches deep is 104, I think, whatever that works out to. You can calculate yourself and find out. But that's it. That's how you do it. And pretty simple. It's just take a cubic yard and take those cubes and break them out. So now we know that we've got 27 square cubic feet. And now we want it at 6 inches. So we take that 27 and we'd multiply it times 2. We'd cut them in half and spread them out. So now we got, what's that, 54. So we know that a cubic yard will cover 54 square feet, 6 inches deep. And then you just keep going out. I want it to be 3 inches deep. Well, what's 54? That's 108. Sorry, that's what the number is, 108. I don't think it is. So 27 times 12 divided by 4. 3 is 81 times 4 divided by, whoops, my calculator screwed up. You get the idea, right? 27, 54, 108 is what that number is, 108. 216, 432, right? I think that's it. I think that's pretty much the basics. So half-inch deep is going to be 648 square feet per cubic yard. 1 ton of dirt is going to spread the same amount. So that's how you do that. And I hope this helps, okay? And if I can do anything else for you, just please ask, and I'm happy to do it. Thank you.